I never believed in fate until the night it hijacked my body and left me screaming inside someone else's skin. The man in the pinstripe suit smiled like he'd won the lottery as he watched me convulse on the subway floor, my world flipping inside out while passengers scrolled their phones, oblivious to the theft unfolding right in front of them. By morning, I was Julia no more, not in the mirror, not in the life I'd clawed my way into, and the bastard who'd orchestrated it all was already cashing in on my erasure. One encrypted wire transfer at a time. Chicago's L train rattled like a tin can full of regrets that October evening. The kind of autumn chill that seeps into your bones and whispers you're running out of time. I'd just wrapped a 12-hour shift at the ad agency downtown, pitching slogans for some energy drink that promised to unleash your inner beast while I felt more like a caged rat. My feet ached in these knockoff Louboutins I'd splurged on during a weak moment, thinking they'd make me look like I belonged in the glass towers of the Loop. Spoiler, they didn't. I was Julia Hayes, 28, junior copywriter with a mountain of student debt and a boyfriend who texted more about fantasy football than foreplay. Ambition was my drug, but tonight, exhaustion was winning. I dashed onto the platform at Clark and Lake, heels clicking against the grimy tiles, my Metro card beeping like an impatient heartbeat. The red line southbound was pulling in, doors hissing open to swallow the rush hour stragglers. I squeezed aboard, the car half full with the usual suspects, a cluster of college kids buried in TikTok, a homeless guy nursing a paper-bagged bottle, and suits like me, eyes glazed over, commuting to nowhere special. I grabbed a pole near the back, phone in hand, firing off a half-assed apology to Mark for bailing on dinner again. Deadline apocalypse. Rain check. His reply pinged back instantly. Thumbs down emoji.
Charming.
That's when I noticed him. Across the car, wedged between a flickering ad for personal injury lawyers and a map of the city's endless sprawl, sat a man who didn't fit. Mid-40s, maybe, dressed like he'd stepped out of a Scorsese flick, pinstripe suit, crisp white shirt, notier, a fedora tipped low over eyes that gleamed like polished obsidian. He wasn't scrolling or staring at his shoes, he was watching me. Not the casual once-over you get from creeps on public transit, but deliberate, like he was memorizing the freckles across my nose. My skin prickled. I shifted, angling my body away, but the train lurched into motion, and there was nowhere to go. "You look lost," he said, voice smooth as bourbon over ice, carrying clear across the rattle of the tracks. Heads turned for a split second, polite disinterest, then back to their bubbles. I ignored him, thumbing through emails, but he leaned forward, elbows on knees, fedora casting a shadow that made his smile look predatory. Not geographically, I mean. Deeper than that. I should have pulled the emergency cord right then, or at least flipped him off. But curiosity's a bitch, especially when you're bone-tired and undervalued. "Do I know you?" I shot back, keeping it light, Midwestern polite. "We do that here, swallow the unease with a smile." He chuckled, low and knowing, like I'd just told the punchline to his favorite joke. "Not yet. But you will." The train screeched into the next station, Grand Avenue, and a few passengers shuffled off, thinning the crowd. He stood, briefcase in hand, and moved closer, casual as you please, claiming the empty seat beside mine. Up close, he smelled like old money and ozone, the kind of scent that lingers after a thunderstorm. Name's Victor Hale. And you. You're Julia Hayes. 28. Grew up in the suburbs of Naperville, Clawed your way to a creative writing degree at Northwestern on scholarships and waitressing tips. Now you're slinging taglines for corporate vampires at Sterling and Coke, dreaming of that big break while your boyfriend Mark cheats on you with his TA at UIC. My stomach dropped like the elevator in the Willis Tower. How the hell? I snatched my phone, angling the screen away, but his words kept coming, precise as a scalpel. That scar on your left knee from the bike wreck at 12, the one your mom said was character building, it's still there, under those stockings. And last Tuesday, you cried in the bathroom stall at work because your pitch got stolen by that smug prick Derek in accounts. I bolted up, heart hammering, the car swaying as we plunged underground. Stay the fuck away from me, you psycho. Voices murmured, finally, but no one intervened. Classic Chicago, mind your own, even when it's unraveling. I edged toward the doors, but Victor didn't follow. He just sat there, legs crossed, that smile widening. You're on the wrong train, Julia. This one's not going where you think. The doors dinged open at Washington State Street, my stop. I spilled out onto the platform, gulping cold air, adrenaline buzzing like I'd chugged 3 Red Bulls. Glancing back through the grimy window, I saw him still seated, tipping his hat like we were old pals. The train pulled away, vanishing into the tunnel, and I laughed a shaky, disbelieving bark. Stalker? Identity thief? Some viral prank? I fired off a text to Mark. Weird dude on train. Pick me up? No reply. Asshole. I trudged the 3 blocks to my walk-up in Wicker Park, the rain starting as a drizzle that turned my hair to wet spaghetti. My building was the usual eyesore, Victorian charm gutted by slumlords. Buzzer that worked half the time. I buzzed myself in, climbed the sticky stairs to my 3rd-floor 1-bedroom, and collapsed onto the futon that doubled as my bed. Mark's stuff was scattered everywhere, his Xbox controllers, that stupid Packers jersey, reminders of the life I tolerated because it beat going home to Mom's empty nest. She was in assisted living now, Alzheimer's eating her memories 1 photo album at a time. I'd footed the bill last month, maxing my credit card. Dreams deferred, bills eternal. Sleep came fitful, haunted by fedora shadows and Victor's voice echoing like a bad loop. I dreamed of trains derailing, bodies twisting in the wreckage, my face morphing into someone else's, older, harder, eyes like his. Woke up sweating at 6 a.m., the alarm blaring some indie playlist I'd forgotten to curate. Coffee.
Shower.
Routine to armor up for another day of invisibility. But as I toweled off, staring at the fogged mirror, something felt
off.
My reflection blinked a fraction too slow. I leaned in, wiping steam away, and that's when the nausea hit, like vertigo on steroids. The room tilted, colors bleeding at the edges, and I gripped the sink, knuckles white. What the? A voice, not mine, rasped from my throat.
Deeper. Gravelly. Male.
Panic clawed up my spine. I stumbled to the bedroom, snatched my phone, fingers fumbling. Too thick. Too wrong, and unlocked the camera. Selfie mode. The face staring back wasn't Julia Hayes. It was Victor Hale. Pinstripes rumpled, fedora gone, but those obsidian eyes wide with my terror.
No. No.
This couldn't, I screamed, a guttural bellow that shook the walls. And Mrs. Kowalski downstairs banged her broom on the ceiling. Keep it down. You drunk. I was in his body. He was in mine. Body swap. Like some sci-fi fever dream. But real. Visceral. The weight of his broader frame pinning me to the floor as bile rose.
How?
When? That train, his words. You're exactly on time. It wasn't a pickup line. It was a cue. I tore through his briefcase. Dropped in the hallucination?
No.
It was here. On my futon. Like he'd planned the handover. Inside. A sleek black device. No bigger than a TV remote. Humming faintly. A note clipped to it. Welcome to the exchange. Julia. Consider this your invitation to the real game. The real game. Rage ignited. Hot and unfamiliar in this stolen shell. He'd taken everything. My face. My voice. My goddamn life. And left me with...
What?
I rifled deeper. Fake IDs in Victor's name. A burner phone with contacts labeled cleanup. Asset. The firm. And a flash drive. Plugging it into my laptop, his laptop now. Files bloomed, schematics for neural interfaces. Patents under a shell company called Hale Dynamics. Black market body swapping tech. Experimental. Government adjacent.
He tested it on me.
On a subway car full of witnesses who saw nothing. Betrayal hit like a freight train. This wasn't random. Victor Hale wasn't some lone wolf. He was connected. Deep state? Corporate espionage? The files whispered of bigger sins. A whistleblower's testimony buried. A rival exec suicided after a swap gone public. And there, in an encrypted folder labeled collateral, my name. Julia Hayes. Framed for embezzlement at my old gig in Naperville, $50K siphoned from the PDA fund during my mom's campaign for school board. I'd taken the fall. Pled guilty to keep her out of it. Served 6 months probation that derailed my college apps. But it wasn't me. It was him, Victor. Laundering money through community slush funds. Using proxies like my naive ass to front the heat. He'd ruined me before we ever met. Groomed my downfall from afar. Then stolen my body to finish the job.
Why?
The files hinted at it. I looked like his daughter. Dead at 16. OD'd on fentanyl-laced pills he'd supplied through the firm.
Guilt? No.
Opportunity. My face was her echo. Perfect cover for his escape. He'd swap back when the heat died. Pin my crimes on this body. Vanish clean. Fury coiled in my gut, his gut like a spring trap. I wasn't going down like this. Not again. I dressed in his suit, the fabric hanging like a noose, and stepped into the hallway mirror. Victor Hale stared back, but Julia's fire burned in those eyes. Time for revenge. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd burn his empire to ash. Swap or no swap. But first, I needed allies. Or, at least a gun. The burner buzzed, a text from Asset. Extraction at noon. Sterling and Coke rooftop. Don't be late. Sterling and Coke, my agency. He was using my life, my job, to tie up loose ends. Derek, that thief, probably on payroll. I pocketed the device, the swapper, and headed out. Rain slicking the streets like oil on water. Chicago pulsed around me, oblivious, while I plodded in a stranger's skin. The wrong train had dropped me here, but I'd ride this nightmare straight to hell if it meant dragging him with me. By 11:45, I was in the loop again. Victor's loafers pinching like ill-fitting lies. Sterling and Coke occupied the 42nd floor of a gleaming spire, all glass and ego, where ideas went to die in PowerPoint purgatory. I badged in, his credentials mirroring mine somehow. Tech voodoo, and rode the elevator up, stomach churning. Colleagues nodded. Morning.
Vic
Mr. Hail. Consulting gig? He'd infiltrated deep. The rooftop access was a service door. Unmarked. Wind whipping like a banshee as I pushed through. There, against the parapet, stood me, Julia's body, lithe and familiar, hair tousled by the gusts. But the posture was wrong, shoulders squared, eyes cold.
Victor.
You're late, he said in my voice, sweet as saccharin. Close up. It was grotesque, my lips curling his smirk. Traffic, I growled, his timbre rumbling like thunder. We circled each other, the city sprawling below like a concrete chessboard. Sirens wailed distant, a soundtrack to our standoff. He laughed, my laugh, but laced with his arrogance. You adapt quick.
Good.
Makes this easier. He held out a hand, palm up. The device. Hand it over, and we swap back. Clean slate. You walk away with a story no one believes.
And I.
Continue. Continue what? Framing innocence? Peddling black market souls. I stepped closer. Wind tugging at our coats, his on my frame, mine on his. I saw the files. Victor. The PDA scam. Mom's campaign. You used me as your fall guy at 18. Destroyed my shot at real life. For what? Your dirty money. My eyes narrowed. A flicker of something human. Regret?
Nah.
Calculation. Collateral damage. You were perfect, small-town girl. No connections. Kept the feds off Hale dynamic scent. And now, he gestured at himself. This body's a vessel. My daughter's face. Your fire. Ideal for the next phase. Infiltrating the board at Neuralink. Billions on the line. Neuralink, the tech giant behind half the valley's neural implants.
Power.
That's what he craved. Not redemption. I feigned consideration. Hand dipping into my pocket. Swap back.
Then.
Let's end it. But as he reached, I yanked the device free. Thumb hovering over the trigger, a biometric scanner. Tuned to his print now on my skin?
No.
I'd hacked it crude style on the L ride over. Overriding with a paperclip and spite. I jammed it against his temple, my temple, and fired. He convulsed. Eyes rolling. But nothing. Wrong code, he wheezed. Staggering. You can't. I can. I'd set it to loop. Permanent echo. No swap back. His empire's dirty secret, trapped in my shell. But the asset, footsteps pounded from the stairwell. Two goons in black. Earpieces crackling.
Boss.
Victor slumped, feigning the fall. She's got the device. Take her. Gunshots cracked, suppressed. Professional, the rooftop erupting in chaos. I dove behind an AC unit. Victor's body heavy, but his muscle memory kicking in roll. Draw the snub nose from his ankle holster.
Bang.
One goon dropped. Clutching his knee, non-lethal. My call. Controversial? Shooting in self-defense on a skyscraper?
Cops would love that headline.
The second lunged, tackling me over the edge, air whooshing as we teetered. 30 stories of void yawning below. His grip slipped on the wet ledge. Mine held. Fueled by years of gym rat therapy. For Mom, I hissed, kneeing his gut. He plummeted. Scream cut short by pavement. Victor scrambled up. My face, twisted in fury. You bitch. You'll rot for this. Like you planned for me? I leveled the gun. Steady. But sirens wailed closer. Someone in the tower had called it in. Time ticked. I zip-tied him with his own cuffs from the briefcase. Gagged him with his tie. Tell the firm hi for me. As cops swarmed the lobby below, I vanished into the service elevator. Device humming in my pocket. Victor Hale's life was mine now. Offshore accounts. Private jets. A network of shadows. But Julia's soul? That burned brighter. Plotting the takedown. First stop. The flash drive's next target.
Derek.
Time to collect on that stolen pitch. Victor Hale's penthouse overlooked Lake Michigan like a throne room for the damned. All sleek lines and floor-to-ceiling windows that turned the water into a moody abstract painting. I'd Ubered up from the Loop in his Bentley, key fob synced to his biometrics. Now mine, heart still jackhammering from the rooftop ballet. Cops were crawling sterling and coke like ants on a picnic. But Victor? Zipped in the trunk of his own car, sweating through my favorite blouse. I dosed him with a sedative from his med kit, ironic. The king of neural hacks felled by horse trank. He wasn't dead, just dreaming of payback in a body that wasn't his anymore. The doorman waved me through. Evening. Mr. Hale, and the private elevator whisked me to the 52nd floor, whispering like a conspirator. Inside. The place screamed old money masking new sins, Persian rugs over heated marble, a bar stocked with single malt scotches older than me, and walls lined with abstract art that probably cost more than my mom's nursing home tab. But it was the office that hooked me, a walnut desk the size of a small car. Monitors flickering with live feeds, subway cams from last night. My apartment bugged since God knows when. Even a drone view of the rooftop melee. I dumped Victor on the leather couch, my body limp as a rag doll, and fired up the mainframe. Password? His birthday. Pulled from the files. Pathetic. Folders cascaded. Operations. Assets. Disposals. Disposals. My cursor hovered. Then clicked. Photos loaded, grainy. Timestamped. Faces I recognized. The whistleblower from the files. Suicided in a Vegas hotel with a forged note blaming depression. Next, a journalist sniffing too close to Hale Dynamics FDA bribes. Car accident on I-90. And there, buried deep, Emily Hale.
His daughter.
Not OD murder. Staged to look like it. Courtesy of a rival firm. Victor hadn't supplied the pills. He'd covered it up, swapping her body post-mortem with the junkies to fake the scene. Grief?
Nah.
Insurance. Her death unlocked a trust fund he'd funneled into the swap tech. Tears stung, his eyes watering, but Julia's rage fueling them. You monster, I whispered, slamming a fist on the desk. Monitors rattled. Emily's file included blueprints. The device wasn't just a swapper, it was a mapper. Neural echo chamber.
Souls digitized.
Bodies interchangeable like rental cars. The firm? A cabal of 1%ers, senators,
CEOs.
Cartel whispers, trading lives to dodge justice. Victor was the architect. My body his latest puppet. The burner buzzed again. Asset to clean up. Rooftop compromised. Primary secure? I typed back, mimicking his clip style. Affirm. Secondary terminated. Regroup at safe house. Lies. But they'd lead me to the heart. I dragged Victor to the bedroom. king bed with Egyptian cotton that mocked my futon, and chained him to the bedpost with his own panic room restraints. He stirred as I worked, eyelids fluttering. Julia. You can't win this. Watch me. I leaned in, close enough to smell my own perfume on his skin. Chanel no.
5.
Stolen from my drawer. You took my life twice. Once as a scapegoat, now as a host. But Emily, you let her killer walk for cash. That's the betrayal that breaks you. His laugh choked through the haze. Business.
Kid.
She was collateral, like you. The firm doesn't do sentiment. He coughed. My cough. Delicate and wrong. They'll hunt you. In this body, you're just another mark.
Good.
I straightened his tie, my tie, around the gag. Means I hunt back. A quick scan of his phone revealed the next play, a board meeting at Neuralink's Chicago outpost tomorrow. Derek from work? There. In contacts, proxy, SNK. My pitch thief was the inside man, feeding Victor intel on ad campaigns that doubled as money laundries. Controversial decision 1. Expose him publicly?
No.
Leverage. I'd crash the meeting as hail, unravel the thread from within. But first, survival. I raided the closet, tailored suits that fit this frame like a glove, and pocketed cash from the safe. 50 grand in stacks. Untraceable. Kitchen yielded protein shakes and kale chips, Victor's vanity diet clashing with my carb cravings. As dawn bled pink across the lake, I sat at the window, device in lap, mapping my next move. Swap tech could be weaponized, echo his neural print into a loop of false confessions, broadcast to the firm. Or deeper, swap him into a body mid-trial, watch him testify against himself. Dark, tense, you bet. America loves a vigilante until the body count rises. Victor groaned awake around 8, straining against the chains. I brewed coffee, his French press yielding bitter gold, and sipped it black, watching him squirm. Thirsty. I dangled the mug, letting droplets fall on his cheek. He nodded furiously. I tipped it, slow, my lips on his, my lips, in a mockery of intimacy. Tell me about the firm. Names. Or I leave you here for the maid to find. He spat grounds, eyes blazing. You'll burn, Julia. They're untouchable, lobbyists in D.C., oligarchs in Davos. Swap a senator into a hooker during a scandal. Poof, resignation. Trade a CEO's mind into a coma patient. Collect the severance. Power's the ultimate high. And you, the genius behind it. I traced the device's emitter along his jaw, humming to life. He flinched. Started with Emily. Wanted to save her, neural backup after the overdose. But she was gone. Tech glitched. Echoed her into the junkie. Firms saw potential, immortality for the elite. I run up stateside. Chicago's neutral ground, crooked enough to hide in plain sight. Neutral my ass. I pressed harder, the device warming. A preview scan, his memories flickering on my HUD implant. Wait, he had one, subdermal, behind the ear. Neural link to the mainframe. I synced, diving in. Flashes. Emily's last party. Pills popping like candy. The rivals hit. A shadow in an alley. My framing. Wires to the PDA account from his offshore shell. And deeper, Mom. Not just the scam. Victor had whispered doubts to school board rivals. Accelerated her breakdown. Stress triggered the early Alzheimer's. He'd poisoned her life to poison mine. Rage blacked the edges. I yanked the device away, breath ragged. You destroyed us all. Controversial? Ending him here. In cold blood?
Tempting.
But no. Twist the knife slower. I uploaded a partial echo, his voice, confessing to Emily's cover-up. Time-stamped to last night. Sent to an anonymous drop, WikiLeaks style, with a nod to Snowden's ghost. The burner lit up. Regroup confirmed. Neuralink. 2 p.m. Bring primary. Asset closing the net. I unchained Victor, hauling him to the bathroom mirror. Look at us. Perfect symmetry. His reflection, my face, paled. You're the bait now. We rolled out in the Bentley. Victor bound in the passenger seat, covered by a blanket like a hungover date. Traffic snarled on the Dan Ryan, semis belching exhaust. While I white-knuckled the wheel, his hands steady from years of high-stakes deals. Neuralink's campus was a fortress in the suburbs, mirror towers ringed by razor wire, helipads humming with exec choppers. Security waved hails bends through, scanners beeping green. The boardroom was sterile opulence, rosewood table, holographic projections of neural maps dancing in air. 8 suits, VPs. A senator in disguise as consultant. Derek fidgeting at the foot. My stolen pitch slides glowing on the wall. Slogan for NeuroSync. Mind over matter, yours. Or theirs. Derek beamed. Oblivious. I strode in as hail. Victor stumbling behind. Drunk act in play. Gentlemen. And Derek, nice lift. Gasps rippled. The senator, silver fox. Botox taut leaned forward. Victor, what's this? Revelation, I said, slamming the device on the table. It whirred, projecting Victor's echo confession. Emily wasn't an accident. I staged it. For the tech. For us. Hollow Victor gestured at each face, naming bribes, swaps, hits. Chaos erupted, chairs scraping, shouts of deep fake. Derek bolted for the door. I tripped him, his nose crunching on marble. My pitch. Asshole. And my life. Senator drew a compact pistol, concealed carry. Illinois exception for the elite, but Victor lunged, chains rattling, tackling him. Traitor, he bellowed in my voice. Gunfire popped, wild, ricocheting off glass. A VP caught one in the shoulder, screaming.
Y dove?
Grabbing the device, syncing a mass echo, every mind in the room mapped, looped into paranoia. Feel it, I hissed. Emitter pulsing. They clutched heads. Visions of their own disposals flashing. Senators swapped into a debtor's prison inmate. Derek drowning in Lake Michigan as a suicide. Sirens wailed, corporate security inbound. I dragged Victor up, his eyes wild. End this. Julia, swap us. Tempting. But the twist nod. Files mentioned a failsafe. Permanent swaps left echoes, ghost imprints. Killing him now? I'd fade too. Julia's essence unraveling in his shell.
Or.
Use it. I triggered a partial reverse, his mind flickering back. Unstable. Into a hybrid scream. The firm's cleanup crew breached, black tactical. No questions. Bullets whined. I fired Victor's snub nose. Dropping 2. Go. I shoved him toward the window, shatterproof. But a fire axe from the hall made quick work. He teetered on the sill. Rain lashed. Mercy? Justice. One push. He fell, my body tumbling 40 feet into the corporate pond below, splash echoing like a full stop. But as I fled through service tunnels, device overheating in my grip, doubt crept. Echoes lingered, his laugh in my throat, my tears in his eyes. The reversal. Was I Julia? Or the monster now? The firm hunted. But so did the truth. One more play. Expose it all. Or vanish into the swap net. A ghost trading lives forever. The underbelly of Chicago swallowed me whole that night. A labyrinth of storm drains and forgotten freight tunnels snaking under the United Center like the city's varicose veins. I ditched the Bentley 2 blocks from Neuralink, hot-wiring a beater Civic from the employee lot, Victor's neural implant feeding me lock codes like cheat sheets for a rigged exam. The device rode shotgun, its casing cracked from the boardroom frenzy, humming erratically as if it knew its own obsolescence. Sirens Dopplered in the distance, a symphony of blue lights chasing shadows. But I was the shadow now. Julia Hayes, dead woman walking in a dead man's suit. I surfaced near the Chicago River, the water black as regret under sodium lamps, barges groaning like weary giants. A burner from Victor's stash pinged coordinates, a dive bar in Pilsen. Murals of La Llorona, weeping on brick walls scarred by tags. The firm's fallback, neutral ground for cleanups. I parked 2 blocks out, hood up against the drizzle, and slipped inside. Neon buzzed El Diablo, air thick with tequila fumes and ranchera ballads wailing from a jukebox. Booths harbored lowlifes, ex-cops turned PI, hackers nursing IPAs. A tattooed woman in leather who eyed me like fresh meat. The contact was in the corner, nursing a Modelo, mid-30s Latina.
Sharp bob.
Gold hoops glinting like warning flares. Hail, she said. No question. Sliding a shot my way. Heard about the pond diver. Messy. Collateral. I downed the tequila, burned smooth, unfamiliar, and signaled for another. Her name tag read Lena, but files peg her as Asset Prime, XNSA. Swapped once after a botched op in Kabul. Loyal to the tech, not the man. Victor's out. Echo looped and dropped. Firm needs a new architect. She arched a brow, tracing the salt rim. And you're volunteering? Ballsy. After the boardroom hack, her phone vibrated, news alert. Neuralink exec in apparent suicide pact. Victor's hybrid mind had confessed mid-fall. Broadcast via his implant to every major outlet. WikiLeaks was already seeding the full dump, swap patents, hit lists, Emily's real autopsy. Chaos brewing, just like I'd coded. Lena leaned in, voice low. They're fracturing. Senators hold up in Springfield. Calling in markers. Cartel whispers from the south side want the tech for their coyotes. You hold the device, your queen or corpse. Queen. The word tasted like ash. Controversial decisions piled up. Push the echo worldwide. Democratize immortality for the masses? Or hoard it? Build my own firm. Trade betrayals like stocks? Julia's moral compass spun wild in Victor's pragmatic shell. We talked logistics, safe houses in Milwaukee. A black market surgeon for implant tweaks. But as the night blurred into dawn, her hand on my knee sparked something primal. You fight like her, Lena murmured, breath warm. Victor's echo. Or the girl? Intimacy in crisis, American as apple pie and bad choices. I pulled back. Ghosts colliding, Mark's indifference. Emily's absence. Mom's fading smile. Both. I stood, tossing bills. Link up at the safe house. I've got one loose end, The loose end was Derek. Not dead, maimed from the boardroom. Arm in sling. Holed up in his River North condo like a rat in velvet. Victor's network had his cams live. I watched him pace. Phone glued to ear. Whimpering to a lawyer about corporate sabotage. My pitch? Still on his desktop. Tweaked for Neuralink's ad buy, millions he'd skim. Betrayal layered. He'd betted me once. Post-happy hour. Then ghosted. Stealing my ideas as consolation prize. I rolled up at noon. Doorman greased with Hale's Amex, corporate perks. Elevator to the 18th. Heart sinking with the ding. Derek answered shirtless. Eyes bugging. Mister.
Hale?
What the? Pitch meeting. I shouldered in, locking the door. His place screamed millennial trap, exposed brick. Eames knockoffs. A Peloton gathering dust. He backed into the kitchen, grabbing a butcher knife, comical. Really? Look, I didn't know about the swaps. Victor said it was just consulting. Save it. I disarmed him easy. Victor's self-defense uploads kicking in, and zip-tied his wrists to the fridge handle. You framed me for the PDA hit too. Funneled the cash through my mom's events. She lost everything, board seat, health.
Me.
Sweat beaded on his brow. It was Victor's play. I was the mule. Wrong. I synced the device to his smart TV, projecting his own emails, propositions to rivals. My pitches forwarded with use at will. And the kicker. Nudes I'd sent Mark. Hacked and shopped onto Emily's memorial site. Morbid leverage. You peddled her ghost for clicks. He blubbered, piss staining his joggers. Mercy.
Jules, Julia.
We can split the Neuralink cut.
Million.
The twist hit then. Device's HUD flickering. A hidden file. Victor's failsafe. Not death, rebirth. Emily's echo intact. Dormant in the core. Swappable. Back into a fresh body.
Or. Mine?
His last gift curse. Family reunion. At the cost of my shell. Reversal sharp as glass. Save her. Become the father I hated? Or delete? Stay Julia in exile? Derek's pleas droned. Controversial climax. I press the emitter to his temple. Not to kill, but confess. Echo loop, his voice looping admissions to a live stream, CNN pickup imminent. For the record, I said, this is for every idea you stole, every life you dirted. One pulse. He slumped, mind trapped in endless apology. As alerts buzzed, feds raiding Neuralink, senators' presser crumbling, I slipped out, Civic melting into traffic. Mom's home next, Oak Park facility. Her room a shrine to faded Polaroids. I walked in as hail, but she stirred, eyes clearing for a beat. Julia? That you? Baby?
Yeah.
Mom. Voice cracking his, but hers. I held her hand, frail as tissue. I'm fixing it. All of it. She smiled, drifting. Proud of you. Always. Outside. Lena waited in a nondescript SUV. Loose end tied. Tied. Device in my pocket. Emily's echo pulsing like a heartbeat. The choice. Upload her to a proxy body, some starlet's vacant shell from the firm's vault, and watch her reclaim a life stolen twice. Or mercy delete. Let ghosts rest. We drove west, toward the Wisconsin border. Safe house lights winking like false promises. The firm splintered, but remnants hunted, drones humming overhead. Shadows in rear views. I triggered the final broadcast. full schematics. Open source. Swaps for all. Whistleblowers dodging dictators. Lovers reuniting post-trauma. Utopian chaos. Or dystopian free-for-all. Debated in every dive bar from here to LA. Lena glanced over. You swapping back? Or staying hale?
Julia Hale.
Hybrid truth. I initiated the echo merge, Emily's print weaving into mine. A daughter's fire tempering the father's ice. No full swap, just augmentation. Power with purpose. The end? Not tragic. Not neat. Victor's body washed up. Suicide ruled. But echoes lingered in viral confessions. Toppling empires. Mom stabilized, stress lift from cleared name, and Mark ghosted him with a single text. Wrong train. Asshole. I built from ashes. Neural Justice Network. Swaps for the wronged. Controversial? Protests raged, playing God, screamed the billboards, but lines formed. America. Land of second chances. Or eternal grudges. As the skyline faded in the mirror, Emily's voice whispered in my head, soft. 16? Thanks, Dad.
Or.
Cease? Laughter bubbled. Mine and theirs. Fate's a bitch. But revenge? That's the American dream. Twisted and unapologetic. On time.
Exactly.